Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Blink podcast for 2023. Can you believe it? 2023, season 2. The podcast made it through the first season. I think we knocked off about 16 or 17 episodes. The response from the listeners, from you guys, has been exceptional. We really did just put those first episodes together just to get our rhythm, just to learn for ourselves. But you guys have been eating them up, listening to them across all platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, everywhere you can find podcasts. People are downloading ours. I think at one stage we even tipped our way into the top 100 business podcasts in New Zealand. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone who takes time out to listen to us, Darren and myself, ramble along about business, but it's something that we're very passionate about. In fact, probably the thing we're most passionate about is helping you do better in business. And so we have decided to bring Blink Business Lessons, International Network of Knowledge, the podcast, back for another season. We're going to tweak things up a little bit. We're going to reduce the length of the episodes to around 30 to 40 minutes, but we're going to do more of them because that's what you guys are demanding. We're going to have guests. We're going to really develop this platform so that we can help you as much as we can. And today, no different. We've got a great episode for you today, the do's and don'ts of 2023. And so without any further ado, let me introduce my host all the way from soggy, wet New Zealand, Auckland, Darren Pratley. Welcome along, mate.
I just about needed a snorkel, man. This is unprecedented over here, man. It's just out of control. Like the amount of water we've had and the level of flooding has been incredible, man. So we're just hoping that we're over the worst of it and can start to dry out a bit. But thank goodness we're okay, and most of my friends are all under control. A few businesses underwater a bit, but good old insurance companies will be very, very busy, I'm thinking.
Yeah, some of the footage out of New Zealand last week was crazy. Of course, Australia's had floods, and the conspiracy theorists are all about cloud seeding, and for some reason the governments want to do this because, I don't know, make somebody money. I don't know who. But yeah, I noticed that the cloud seeding videos have come out, that the stripes were in the sky before this big deluge in Auckland. I just, for our listeners, and we have got a lot of listeners from New Zealand, I hope you're all safe and well. I hope there hasn't been too much damage. And I hope that, you're able to get back on track and get back into business as quickly as possible on the back of that, because it's no good for anyone, I don't think.
No, absolutely, mate. I think it's just, real challenging after the couple of years or 3 years that we've had up to this point. And then also, for some of the industries and marketplaces to be really challenged by market change, and then all of a sudden to have these sort of events start the year, it can sort of knock people off the straight and narrow a bit. So I think today's topic, mate, is a really valuable one. Can help no matter where you are really in your year. It's a great one for you to be thinking about the do's and don'ts for setting up your year and the things you need to be focusing on.
I think that's right. And I think, we're going to continue to get these waves. We're in a period of disruption. We're going to look back at it in 4 or 5 years' time and go, wow. Remember when we had the pandemic? Remember when we had the floods? Yeah. And in Australia, it's going to be, remember when we had the bushfires on the back of the floods? Yes. Because, of course, the floods grow the grass and then the bushfires come. So they're coming. And then, there'll be something like murder hornets or something's going to come. There'll be locusts. Look, we're not out of this horror movie just yet, but really, at the end of the day, people are still doing business. They're still eating. They're still driving. They're still transacting. Even, with all the doom and gloom, and we kept saying it last year over and over again, don't buy into the doom and gloom of the mainstream media. I used to be in it. I understand how it works. They're trying to get clicks because their market share is shrinking. So, they're getting more and more extreme. So, just, I suppose, an unofficial first version of the list of do's is don't buy into the hype. Just check your own reality and operate from there. I think that's the best way to deal with.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Absolutely, mate.
But the one thing we're going to do, Darren, is we're going to snap people out of this funk. There's just this, oh my God, you deal with people and they're like, I can't do this because of COVID. I can't do that. Look, okay, folks, I'm going to put it on the table. I had COVID last week, version 2.0. And, yep, I felt the need to, well, my wife did banish me to the laundry floor, which, yeah, that was fine. But it allowed me to be in my office. And that was the thing, is like, was either I was going to be in the room at the front of the house where I couldn't really do anything except look at the Christmas tree that should have been taken down 3 or 4 weeks ago, but my kids don't want to take it down. Could be a permanent fixture. And I said, no, I need to be near my office because even if I've got COVID, if I can, I want to keep working. I want to keep moving through. Last year, if I got COVID, I would have just pulled the pin, sat on the couch for a week and watched Netflix. Yeah, you got to keep moving, folks. You got to keep moving here.
I had a conversation with one of my really close owners, and he said to me yesterday, Darren, I can't believe how I've got a whole lot of snowflakes in my environment that have decided that they're probably not going to come to work today because it might rain. You know, his offices haven't been affected, no issues, no drama. And yet we've got a whole lot of people that have decided that maybe it's better to work from home or just actually have the day off because it might rain, you know? And it was, again, for him, a real frustration about, hey, what, you know, we've got to get this machine going again. We've got to get our focus back and, you know, letting things that, you know, if anyone had told us 5 years ago that you were going to take the day off because it might rain, you'd have laughed, right? So I think it's a real head and mind state that we've got to be really conscious of that we don't fall into.
So what do you think that is? There's got to be a name for that. There's got to be a name for that sort of syndrome where, you know, it's almost like American kids praying for snow days, right? Oh, you know, I think it snowed. I think I saw a snowflake. We don't have to go to school today.
The snowflake syndrome. Perfect.
Snowflake syndrome. It is. It is. I just remember, yeah, and even here when the unions used to control Melbourne and Australia, they'd get out of the way they worked out whether they could work today or not, work on the day or not, they'd get out a cigarette paper. And if in 5 minutes there were more than 12 drops of rain on the cigarette paper, that was the ruling that it was too wet to work.
There you go. She's over.
So we've got to stop looking for these excuses not to work and start finding the reasons to work. And I think when people start doing that, a lot of things are going to start going in their favour. I mean, I think at the moment, particularly with this snowflake syndrome, as we've just termed it, is now's the time to roar. There's a great video from Dana White, the head of the UFC, saying, listen, you know, all these people are sitting back at the moment. They're comfortable. They're not wanting to push themselves. Now's the time to get up in faces and work hard, hustle, growl, get out there, you know, beat your chest, be the one that's fighting for victories. And it's going to amplify your success at the other end because everyone else is sitting back a little bit timid and, oh, I've had a tough time. Well, that's when we sort out the leaders from the market leaders from the market losers. So 100%. Let's get going, eh?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's just a real awareness, right? A real awareness when you look around the environments that we work in, those are the kind of things that we're starting to realise that are actually having quite a detrimental effect on our teams and our businesses. And I think you did right. The ability to get out there and really command your space is a head space and a determination. And I think some of these key points we've got here, I think are absolutely ways that you can actually start putting that stuff into place so that you really do stand out in your marketplace.
It's almost like it's leaked in to the fabric of businesses, isn't it? Yeah, and then one person's sort of a little bit flaky. Let's use the word flaky, and you know, it's just a term. And then that sort of spreads to the next person. Oh, that, you know, Jenny's worried about this, so I should be worried about it. Oh, Mike's worried about it, so Simon doesn't want to do it either. It's like you've really got to pick, you know, who you're promoting and talking about and how you're pushing yourselves and the message that you're sending to your teams about getting together, rallying them together. And we know in real estate in particular right now is rallying season. Kickstarts and pump ups and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, and even in those, I think, I always love looking at the topics of those. And I think you noticed it too the other day. We had a little bit of a giggle about it in the sense that, mental health is really, really important. We're not making light of it. We've been touched by it ourselves in different ways with different levels. But there's a whole lot of focus on well-being and wellness and being calm and all that sort of stuff. And there's a value to it. But at the end of the day, my belief is this, and, I've experienced it, is that the one thing that can bring you or lift you out of the fog of that sort of stuff is results.
Yeah.
Doing and results and getting out there and having money in the bank. There's nothing more concerning on your mental health and well-being than when you've got a bank account that doesn't service the lifestyle that you're used to.
That's it.
I've never spent more worry tickets or nervous tickets than during the pandemic when I didn't have enough money in the bank account to service my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so if we're talking about well-being and wellness and all this sort of stuff, you know what brings it? Results, sales, deals,
100%.
Having a system, predictability, all these things in business they're the way out. Not kumbaya at 5 o'clock in the morning and hopping in ice baths. You know what I mean? What's an ice bath going to get you in business? It might be a conversation starter where you can sit with someone and say, "Oh, I did a Wim Hof ice bath. Oh, I love ice baths." Then you got a relationship, and then you can do a deal. But come on. Pick up the phone and do work.
Have you done one?
Yeah, I've Wim Hof for a long time.
Oh, good. I was just checking. But
did I mention it? Did I raise it with you?
Oh, mate, you couldn't get me in one of those if you it'd just kill me. I'd be dead.
I'll tell you the reason why I did Wim Hof. I'm an open water swimmer, so I love swimming in open water. So I like the cold. I enjoy it. There's something about it. But I had a bit of a medical scenario where I ended up with a bit of like a syndrome of full body inflammation.
What?
So I was getting like arthritis and like pains and stuff like that. And I went through different medications and all that sort of stuff, and they didn't really work. But what I found was whenever I swam in the ocean or swam in the cold, I felt better.
Yeah, nice.
And so, I don't live near the beach here in Melbourne. So what I started to do was do cold showers. And then from cold showers, you progress to ice. And I'll tell you, it fixed it.
Wow, that's cool.
So it did something. All right.
There you go.
Let's get into the list. The do's of 2023. This is what we want you guys. This is what we believe is going to get you the business and the results that you need by the end of the year. Look, I'm going to say 2023 is 12 months long. Well, it's not. It's only 11 because we're on the 1st of February already. So we've only got 11 months left. We've blown a month. I spent a quarter of that month on the laundry floor. And prior to that, I was doing kids' sports stuff. So really my year starts today.
Nice.
We've only got 11 months to go. If you want to have a bit of a break before Christmas, you've probably only got 10. All right? So
there you go. There's our 10 months, man. There's our 10 months. We talk about that. That's it. Let's go.
All right. Number one to do, Darren. What is our number one do?
What I push for, and I think this year really, really important, is our ability to actually write down what we want to achieve this year. And that's actually give ourselves a written plan of what we're going to do and how we're going to achieve those things. So actually be thinking about, first of all, I want to know what I want to achieve this year. And secondly, put a plan in place to achieve those. Because most of the time I work with self-employed business owners who say to me things like, Darren, to be honest, mate, I hear everyone talking about written plans, but I don't do it because I don't really need to, because my plan is in here. I know what I'm doing and I'm just going to follow that plan. And my problem is when you're a self-employed business owner, if you've got a plan in here, how quickly can you change the plan?
Instantly, you wake up with a different plan.
You got it, right? And the reason why we change the plan is normally because the result or the things that we're doing aren't getting the results that we wanted. So what we then do is we blame the market, we blame the customers, we blame the economy, we blame the weather, we blame a whole lot of stuff because we're not getting the result that we wanted. So we've changed our plan and we've looked externally. We're actually, in fact, if you've got a written plan, this is what I want to achieve, and you're not achieving it, the first place you've got to look is
Yourself.
right. And this is the piece, right? When you're having a written plan, if you haven't got a plan, what it does is it lets you off the hook all the time, because you can change that plan. But when it's written down and it's in front of you, you can say, actually, the reason why I haven't got that is because I haven't done the things that I needed to that was in my plan. And if I just get focused on doing those tasks, man, oh man, the business changes, because those excuses start to disappear.
Here's what I reckon happens too, is if you've got the plan in your head, there's some point in the journey of business where you're going to have to do something that you don't like doing as much as the other things.
Oh, 100%.
Right? The easiest one of all is cold calls. Right?
Oh.
Cold callings, you can mention the word cold calling and it sends shivers down people's spines. Me, 12 months ago, shivers. I've been doing it since you've been on my case. I've been doing more of it. I'm getting better with it. The fear of the unknown is evaporating. So when you've got the plan in your head, you're going to get to the moment where you've got to do the one thing that you don't want to do. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to go, oh, no, I'm not going to do that, because I've just heard there's this new thing where if I just do it this way, it'll work. And you'll never do it. And so you'll never get done. And then 2 or 3 weeks down the track, you'll be kicking yourself in the pants because you never actually did the bit that was required. And if you'd just done it, it's all good. Yeah, if you'd just done it, it would have worked out great. So that's it. Written plan. What do you put in the written plan? Just give us a breakdown of how it looks. Are you saying, is it just one title and then the steps, or how do you break that?
Yeah. So what I'd be looking to do is go, what are you wanting to achieve? What are the 4 or 5 things that this year that you want to tick off?
So let's say for me, 20 coaching clients. So 20 real estate office coaching clients. So I'll write that down, 20 coaching clients.
That's it. And then we go, okay, so if you were going to get 20, what would be the process that you would need to have? So one of the things that I do is I break it down to a weekly, or in some cases a daily amount.
I'd have to ring a cold call 100.
That's it. So 100, and we're going to do that over the next 3 months, right? So over the next 3 months, I'm going to call 100. So what does that work out at?
Over 3
Just
months.
about, 10 a day.
3 a week, nothing.
Yeah.
10 a day. 10 a day, I'd have it done. 10 a day, I'd have it done in. Oh, now you're testing my math. 10 a day, I'd have it done in 2 weeks, not 3 months.
And you see, this is the piece, right? Because initially I gave you 3 months, right? And all of a sudden, when you worked out actually how much it is, you could actually get that done in the space of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So now your plan is starting to improve its quality just by making that, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my 10 calls a day. And from that, I'm going to make appointments, right? And then that allows you to realize actually how you're going to achieve that simple goal.
And then you sit there and you got to start thinking, I'm 2 weeks away from being pain-free.
Well, number one, pain-free, but also once you start making those calls, the activity level in your business goes up, and all of a sudden you start having a whole lot of other opportunities that start falling in your lap because you're being connected to the market more. Because the best way to be busy is to be connected to the market more, because there's actually a lot of opportunity out there that you don't get because you're not in the market.
Yeah, they don't know you're there.
100%.
It's easily forgotten. Today's headlines, tomorrow's fish and chip wrapper. Remember that.
100%.
So you can disappear from market pretty quick. Number 2, I love this one. I know you've been on it, and I'm on it too. Despite the spicy cough, did put a little bit of a derail in there. The health plan. I think this year is it's really important to get back and be active. I think there's been a lot of commentary, particularly around middle-aged men, of which we may be representatives of middle-aged men. And the risks of COVID with heart attacks and all that sort of stuff. You got to get healthy, guys. You got to get fit and healthy. Sitting on the couch. I don't drink, but I do like chocolate. Ease off it a bit. Eat cleaner. Move more. And make it regular and consistent. Not just one weekend of smashing yourself and getting on your old bike that you've dusted off after 10 years and doing 100 kilometers and then being sore for 3 weeks. Take it easy, work into it, and make it consistent and achievable.
Yep.
Most people can go for a walk. If you can't go for a walk, buy a bike. If you don't like riding a bike, buy rollers that your bike go on. So you just sit in your backyard with an iPad on the handlebars. You're still watching Netflix like you would be, but you're moving your legs and you're exercising. You're getting healthier.
100%. And I think that's the big piece, right? Is to work out what motivates you. Because I always use this as an example. If someone's overweight or obese and they go to their doctor and the doctor says, "Look, the situation's got to the point now where if you don't change your lifestyle, my expectation is that you'll be dead in a month." Right?
What a great
Most people at that point go and their life changes dramatically, right? Or, hey, I just want to let you know that you've got some, we're really worried that your level of smoking is creating this or that, or these are the issues. And if you don't stop, we think that you're going to die within the next, 6 months. People's lives.
I don't want to be a nagging nanny here, but I am from the nanny state capital of the world here in Victoria and Australia. But if you're still smoking cigarettes, it's the greatest gamble of all time against your odds. Like, you cannot win that battle.
No.
And I feel for people who are addicted to it. I always say, and I've been saying this for 20 years, the greatest decision I ever made at university, because I lived on campus, was not to smoke.
Yeah.
Everyone I lived with smoked. My girlfriend smoked, smoked. And I was like,
the thing is, the reason why
smokers
the reason why that happens, right, is that habit is stronger than the reason to give up. So all of a sudden, if your morality or your life ends, if you continue to do that, all of a sudden that becomes bigger than the habit, right? So next minute you can change that. So just using that philosophy, if the reason or the purpose is greater than the habit, you'll do it.
Yeah. Surely there's just enough evidence now to just...
Yeah.
You should... Yeah, come on. We know enough about cigarettes.
So the other one around the health plan that I just say is, when did you last have a doctor's visit, blood tests, just a once over health check? Because I think one of the key things that my doctor said to me, I now try and do this every year, right? So the reason why is because your blood tests, they record those. And even when you're really healthy, the best part is that they start to get a benchmark of your metabolism in your body at healthy state. So if anything changes, they can identify it quickly and early. So it's not about identifying the problem. It's actually setting the baseline for healthy. And that was a really good point for me to go, it's actually, we're not here just to find out whether you've got a problem or not. It's actually to help you in the future of knowing what is that benchmark? What are the things that you should be keeping an eye on? What is your cholesterol levels? Is it going up? Is it being stable? All those things that are just the basics that help you identify the problem. So, it's a good one. I mean, a good mate of mine used to do this, and the doctor was able to pick up a prostate issue and was able to, get ahead of the issue and be able to get it sorted for him. And he's fine now. He's great. But if he hadn't had those benchmarks historically, I don't know whether they'd have picked it up as quickly as they did. Right. So
yeah, I think it's really important. I think you're right. I used to do a lot of endurance sports, and every year I'd get my blood tested to do exactly that. And that's where they picked up the inflammation markers.
Yeah.
Initially, I won't keep the audience in the dark, but I'd been to some pretty sketchy places in the world, Darren. I'd made a documentary in the rubbish tips of the Philippines about the people who live in the rubbish tips. And then I'd also spent some time in the Papua New Guinean jungle retracking some Anzacs. And I picked up some sort of parasite that lay dormant in my liver for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And then I started to experience pain. And I was like, I'm not sure where this is from. But during that time, I'd been having blood tests all the time from sport. And then all of a sudden, just this one it was about April, bang, there was this spike. And it's like, this is different. This is weird.
Yeah.
We need to look it out. And they found this parasite, and they bombed me with different sort of antibiotics and things to kill this thing. And then that led to the other reaction. But it was only, as you said, because they had that history that they were able to say, okay, this is not normal for you. So that's a great point. Have your health plan, but if you're a little bit, if you're north of 45 and pretty unfit and a smoker and you've enjoyed a good time over the last couple of years, don't go out and run a half marathon. Go to the doctors, get them to give you a check over first, to give you the confidence to just start moving. Buy a dog, take it for a walk. That's all we need to do every day.
Love it.
Number 3 is system development.
Yep. How important is this?
I think it's really important. It comes back to I had a discussion with a CEO, managing director of one of the biggest companies in Australia, a big pharmaceutical, the other day. And he said to me, Jonathan, in business, boring is good. Boring is bliss. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, repetitive actions that bring results. That's what you want in business. That's how you can grow. That's how you can move forward. That's how you can really succeed and squeeze all the juice out of the lemon. Boring is bliss. And that all starts with systems. Have systems around your processes. If you work for yourself, still have systems. And I think that's the biggest trap for self-employed. Now, you may have noticed people that Darren's office has moved to home.
Yeah.
My office is at home. The easiest thing to do in the world, particularly if the kids and the family are around during holidays, is drop your systems and your processes. And, I'm just going to stay in bed and have a cup of tea, or I'm just going to, sit and have breakfast with the kids. You can do all those things, but don't let it compromise your systems and processes. You've got to stick to them.
I think the biggest thing too is actually set up some. I think the biggest thing is to go, actually, what are the systems and processes that create those success? We talk about, a big thing is the 10 calls a day, right? So you just have to have a system in place to make your 10 calls every day. And you try and push hard for at least 2 face-to-face meetings a day. That's part of your plan and your system. So what you've got is, by putting the steps in place to make those happen, instantly improves the quality of your business. So it's a really good thing to be able to position yourself and push yourself down that path.
That's the greatest foundation of any business. 10 calls a day and 2 face-to-face. 10 calls a day, 6 months ago, I remember we had this conversation. I was like, 10 calls a day? Like, come on, Darren. Like, I've got 2 businesses going here. I've got a production company and I've got a coaching business. The production company I have not pushed or promoted or even probably spoken about for nearly 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And the jobs just keep rolling in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do anything. Hey, someone just told me that you're the guy to make this for me.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. And I do it. I just take it. The other part of the business, which I really love, and I do love the production part, but I really love the coaching and the hands-on stuff. And you're like, you're going to make 10 calls a day. I'm like, what? I don't need to make 10 calls a day. I've got this other business over here. I'll just do it the same as that. It just rolls in. It doesn't. 10 calls a day I'm now okay with. I'm doing that. Maybe they're not calls. I think that sometimes scares people off. 10 contacts a day. Because people are used to being connected in different ways now. What are you looking for?
I just thought I might have found a box of tissues.
No. So there's different strategies, I think, here. So you look at the example yesterday that I took you through with the real estate agent.
Yeah.
I've been watching her content. I want to help her get better. I've been watching her content. So I reached out to her on Messenger. Said, hey, I've been watching you. I've been watching your content. Would you mind if I sent you a bit of a strategy that I think will make a real big difference to what you're doing?
Yeah.
Bang. Sure, that'd be incredible. Right?
So
I write it up, send it to her, and guess what we've got today? We've got a call, which is probably closer to a face-to-face, but it's over the phone.
So all I'm saying is that reaching out, I would accept as a call, right?
Yeah,
that I'll give you a tip there.
Because some people get scared by phone calls, Darren. We've got these millennials who don't like making phone calls anymore.
And you know what? That's what I've got to get you to push through, right? I am not going to let you spend your whole business career going, I don't like the phone. So what I do is I do it by email and text message, right? Yep, that's great. They're very valuable forms of communication, but it's not where we're going to leave you. It's not going to go, oh, okay, so we won't worry about the phone piece. No, we've got to push through this piece because that is actually the next step. If I do a great text or I do a great email, the next one is that great phone and that phone connection, because we all know that personal connection, that personal information that you pass over on the call actually is what creates the success, right? We know that. So getting suckered into believing that I can do that by email or by text or by Facebook or by Facebook Messenger or by Instagram or by LinkedIn or all that other bollocks that's great for profile and getting you known, but you got to make that connection. And that's why, I push pretty hard on it, because I just go, and you are a really good example of this. When we first had these conversations, you'd look at me going 10 calls, mate. And now you almost do those 10 calls by osmosis. Like, you don't actually think about it. You just do it, and that's the piece where we've got to get through that. Just for the listeners.
And my system.
Yeah, just for the listeners, it is going to be interesting when I increase the number to 20, and let's just see Jonathan squirm in his seat when we go a bigger number. But that's okay for now. 10's good. I'm happy with that.
No, because I've got a system in place now, so you can ramp it, and I just have to put the pressure on my. I've actually, and I think you're doing this too, is we've got daughters now who are old enough to help. And if they want these nice things in the business. We're putting them to work a little bit, and it didn't take long, maybe 3 months, before I'd exhausted my network of people who I actually had in my contacts. And so it's like, how do you keep growing that database? And so you've got to put a system in place, and the system in place is that my daughter, Santa, brought her a new computer, which is actually very good at building databases. She now has to sit there, and every week she now has to get me 20 new contacts into my database.
Oh,
actually, cool. There's more than that. It's 30. So there's my calls, right? Bang.
All right.
30 calls a week. Easy.
And
what I do, and my system, so that people know, because I'm new at this, my system is every night, the last thing I do when I sign off from the office is I write down who are my 10 for tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. Good boy.
When I walk in, here it is. Look at this. When I walk in, I haven't quite got 10 there yet, but when I walk in, I know who I'm calling. I don't have to think about it. There's no excuses. Bang. Call.
So proud, mate.
Very good.
Great work.
So stop reinventing the wheel. Just build systems around what you're already doing, right?
And then do it.
You've already got a great wheel. Just do it. And that gets us to number 2. Really does lead into number 2, making systems and development is what I like to call the HHI diet. The high human interaction diet.
Yep.
Now we were talking about this off camera and off podcast earlier, and I was like, I've got this client who I'm romancing a little bit, probably about 40 minutes away from where I live, and I said, Darren, I'm gonna make sure that I go down and meet her and have a coffee. And your response was, well, you could do that stuff on Zoom. I'm like, no, I don't think you can.
No, I didn't. Well, I did, but I didn't. What I said was, I am challenged, okay, because I'm across the ditch, right? Yeah. And having to develop my relationships with people, because I can't just hop in the car and drive 40 minutes, right? So one of the things for me is challenging me is my ability to be able to connect with people online. And then obviously when I'm in Australia a bit more is to be able to have those conversations face to face. So don't think that you got to get face to face with people, mate. But it's just, again, it's that process of what's your system to create that success, right? And for me, developing my relationships with my contacts in Australia, my system that I've got here, because those that know me, I jump on a plane in 5 minutes, fly to wherever I need to go to meet the person in person, because that's exactly the way I build my relationships, right? So when it comes to Australia, that's a slightly different proposition. So we're going to just develop your system a little bit differently, but
human interaction, we're on to number 4 now. So human interaction is still key.
Is key.
I think you can do it online. I think you still can have, I think we've seen an acceleration in the acceptance of Zooming and video chat. But I still think that in terms of relationship, what do we call it? Relationship stickiness,
Yeah.
video chat's still really only 60 to 70%.
Yeah, 100%.
As a human behaviorist, someone who watches human behaviors, watches how people interact, you're still not picking up all the tells.
Yeah.
Like if you're sitting in the room with someone, the moment you walk in the room, you know a lot more about them than the moment they turn on the camera on their computer.
100%.
So the main aim in growing your business and getting new clients is, yes, you can use these internet-based tools to interact and almost as a Trojan horse, but inside the Trojan horse has to be a face-to-face meeting.
100%.
And you're doing that. You want to expand into Australia. You're trying to come over and, you've found where the land of gold and honey is over here. And you've exhausted all your ways down in wet New Zealand. So you're coming over to us and you're doing it. You're coming over in March and you're booking out days upon days upon days. Correct?
And that's the pace, right?
Did my microphone just change?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I just got a notification from my computer. Technology's weird today. It really is. It's
the water in the pipes, mate. But I think this is the piece, right? Is just to keep remembering. I tell people to go back in your diary last week, right? So go back into your diary last week and actually count up how many face-to-face meetings you had, right?
Yeah, 0.
And then all of a sudden, people start to get really aware of what they're doing and what they're not doing, right? So just have a think about that face-to-face, because good calling, good prospecting, good marketing will really give you the opportunity to develop your face-to-face meetings, and that's a good scoreboard just to keep track of.
Yeah, I agree, and I think face-to-face are important, but I think we recognise also that they take more time.
Yep.
Time.
Definitely. Yeah,
like,
yeah. Totally.
A couple of face-to-face meetings can quickly take half a day. So I don't mind that little bit of digital interaction prior, just to warm up the cold lead, so you know you're not wasting your time.
Yeah, 100%.
But get to that human interaction.
Yep, definitely.
We said these episodes were going to be 30 to 40 minutes. We've haven't even got halfway through our list yet, and we're at 35 minutes. But hey, we're back. We've got a lot to catch up on. We're going to make this one go a little bit longer. So hold on to your hats. Number 5.
So we're having to do so the next 5 has to be in the next episode.
Okay. All right, we're just going to do the do's today. Darren called it.
Yeah.
So we've got the last one.
Love it.
Execution and accountability. Do this in 2023. Make sure nearly mispronounced it. Make sure you do this in 2023, folks. You must execute and you must have accountability over your time.
Yep.
And how you spend your time.
Yep, 100%. So one of the things that I do, Jonathan, is when someone says the word accountability, one of the things that I encourage you to think about is also attributing it to the word care. Because if you set up an accountability program, it actually means that you care about the result or the outcome. So sales managers say this to me all the time. Oh, Darren, they're not accountable. They don't be accountable. I can't make them accountable. Well, the thing is, actually, the reason why we have accountability in a system is that it shows that as managers and leaders that we actually care about the result. Because if we don't care about the result, 9 times out of 10, the person's just going to go on, just do whatever, which means they're not going to get a result, which 9 times out of 10 means they're not going to earn enough money, which means they're going to leave the industry or have to change jobs or go and do something else, right? So actually, we care about whether they stay in the industry or not. So putting some accountability actually shows you care about helping them hold their position and also get the result that they need. So for me, accountability is showing that you care.
Yeah, that's really interesting because, if we take it to the ground floor of a business and the boss can really easily make this mistake, right? They come in the start of the year, they're doing the rah-rah conference, they've had their guest speakers in, we're going to look after your wellness and your mindfulness and, hey, we're a team and we're going to put you through hoops and stand on stilts and bounce balls and solve puzzles and all get together. And then the boss gets up at the closing speech and goes, right, now you got to be accountable. I've given you all this fun stuff for 2 days. Now you're going to be accountable. I want 30 house sales a month.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't get that, you're not performing and you're under it. And then it just sucks all the juice out of everybody because he's coming in with accountability as if he's some sort of authoritarian force.
Yeah.
And then you get people who are nervous. And then you'll get people who are so worried about not being able to meet the needs and being accountable for their actions. They'll tap out.
Yeah.
They'll
100%.
quit before they even start.
Yep.
Not going to make it. Not me. Can't do it.
Gone.
Going to go. See you later. But
Yep.
they won't quit. And that's the worst bit. They won't quit for months. They'll just try and fake it.
Yep. 100%.
And they'll hide away and they'll sweat on it and they'll, they won't perform and then the leader will get grumpier.
But if a leader lets that happen, what are you just showing? That you actually don't care. Yeah. You actually don't really care in the person's, the work they're doing or the result. So that's the piece for me. We really, really have to get focused on actually building that execution in place, have that sense of accountability that you are accountable to someone and that someone does care about your end result. And all of a sudden what that will mean is that you start to get completed the stuff that you need to get done to get the result, right? Which is once you start getting on this wheel, all of a sudden it starts to move in an upward direction because you start doing the stuff that creates the outcomes. And that's so important.
Here's the thing that I want to wrap up this episode with. I think it's been a great welcome back. Don't want to pump up our own tires, but this is quite possibly the best podcast on any platform. I heard that rumor somewhere. I heard someone say it.
I did. I heard it.
If you were to be coming into 2023 with all the commentary that's going on in the world about how bad things are going to be, and someone said to you, if I could give you a 5-step plan to ensure that you're going to be successful this year, in fact, how much would you pay for that? Right?
Yeah.
People would pay for it. We've just given it to you for free. Folks, do these 5 things, right?
100%.
Follow these 5 steps, and I guarantee you, I can't guarantee you'll be a millionaire, but you'll be well better off than what you are if you're not doing them.
Yeah, 100%.
Just 5 steps. It can't get any easier. 5 steps. You should, one for every finger. And
the
5 fingers.
And the thing is, right, is that none of those there are requiring a rocket degree to put in place.
No, there's no rocket surgery required, and there's no big expense either. We're not building anything new. We're not telling you to go and learn anything new. All we're doing is just follow those steps. You've already got all the tools that you need, and promise you that 2023 is going to be the gangbuster that no one else is expecting. And this is the thing. While everyone else is sitting back and worried and too scared to act, do these things. Yeah. Just quietly roar behind the scenes, and in 6 months' time, you're going to pop up with a tax return, and people are going to be like, "What? What did you do? What during this time?" You look at some of the great businesses that were all born in the GFC.
Yeah, 100%. These are the times, right? These are the times. Put the stuff into place and go hard. 100%.
Yeah, great episode, Darren. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening, folks. It's been awesome. A few little technical glitches here and there, but I think we got through them. No problems at all. And we look forward to Season 2, Episode 2 coming up soon. We're going to try and put these out weekly. But, we've got some things. We've got our 5 steps to execute first before we get to play on the podcast, because this really is a passion project for us, but we love it. Look, if you enjoy or get some value out of what we're talking about here, please don't be scared to share it. Don't be scared to ask us questions. Don't be scared to interact with us in any way that you want. If you need help, we have resources to help you, and they're free. We're here to help. That's what we're doing. So there's no tricks, no traps. But
so good.
If we try and push this out a little bit further in 2023, that's one of our goals. So thank you for listening, and this has been Blink. Peace out.
See you, everybody. Take care. See you, mate. See you soon.